Wow. This song's really going hard, isn't it? Hello, how's it going? So let's... You're done. Hi guys, how's it going? It's me, I'm back. I'm trying to be consistent. Hello! Hi lovely farts, how are you? Such a great name. I really should change I really should change all of my handles to Katya Farts. I feel like it would humble me. Maybe like Katya Sharts. That way I'm not like ripping you off. You gotta like plus it. We're back. We're doing another illustration today. We're doing another Final Fantasy VII Summons illustration. I am deceased. So we're doing a Final Fantasy VII illustration of the summons. We're going to be doing Shiva. Last week we did Chocobog, and yeah. What else is there to say? That is what we're doing today. We're going to go to our iPad. So I feel like a lot of people ask me about what my tools are. So they're down below. It's an old iPad. It's like first generation Apple Pencil. You'll notice my iPad is not very big. I don't believe in having the latest and greatest in tools. I mean, it's nice and it's great, but like art is art. You know what I mean? Like as long as you're creating and you are... you have tools at your disposal, that really should be your primary focus. So, yep, working out of Procreate. I just lost my references. The upgrades are so incremental these days too, right? I mean, I feel like the Procreate 15 update was like pretty big. Like there's some really cool animation things that they added in, but beyond that, unless you're really doing a lot of animating, heavy lifting, I don't think that it's like that big of a deal. And I remember spending the whole day trying to get access to like Procreate 15 or whatever, and it was just like, oh, it's just like 14. And there's like, again, there's like little things with the brushes, and it's cool that you could like sign your work. There's like a lot of like sort of NFT metadata things that you can start putting into your artwork out of Procreate. That stuff's really powerful and super cool. And like, you don't have that in Illustrator and Photoshop. I don't know if Clip Studio Paint has that because I don't work in that program a whole lot. But yeah, just be drawn. Just draw. Make stuff. Draw it on paper. I'm doodling on everything. I doodle on my DMV paperwork and then I get yelled at because I shouldn't be doodling. So yeah, just whatever you're doing, just do it. And do it a lot. And do it until you're in pain, and then go stretch and drink some water, and then you come back and you do it some more. Right, so you can see I've already done some sketches. I basically went through all of the, well, not all of them, as you can see, because I stopped at Hades. I went through a lot of the summons, and we started off with Chocomog. We're moving on to Shiva. I feel pretty strongly that when you are working on any sort of illustration, any sort of project, you should always have thumbnail sketches. You should always be doing rough drafts and rough drawings of everything that you do. When you become a lot stronger as an artist, sorry, I did not copy that properly. When you become a lot stronger as an artist, you could definitely just kind of put something down and then keep going. But even still, it's an iterative process. So it's always important to kind of start with a good thumbnail and work from there. So a couple of things. I'm working on a 2000 by 2000 canvas. This is at 300 DPI. The reason for that is that the aspiration and the goal is that these could be converted into t-shirt designs and cool prints. So that's why I'm working at such a high res. And my iPad is not a pro, so I don't have as powerful as an iPad, so I can't have a bazillion layers like I would normally have. But the way that I work, it's not the end of the world that I don't have a bunch of layers, so it's fine. My finger is really itchy. Okay, so a couple of things. The way I like to set up my canvas is I like to turn on the drawing guide, edit drawing guide. Since this is 2000 by 2000, I will do one of two grids. I'll either do a 500 by 500 grid, or I'll do a 250 by 250 grid. The TLDR on this is I just want to be able to have some constraints around how big I make my illustration, the edges of my illustration. And so when I'm putting my thumbnail in, I'm gonna kind of, I'll probably peek a little bit above and below, I would say. And if anything, I think I might want to extend her legs just a little bit. Freehand, good. Freeform. Thank you. Free form. Yeah, just a little bit. Because you're like, I always make my legs super stubby. I don't know why I do that. It's a pretty severe problem that I have. But yeah, having it peak a little bit or above this line that I have running along the side is totally fine. That doesn't bother me. So, another thing is, I don't do enough of this, but because in the spirit of teaching and educating the children, it's really important to label everything. So we're gonna name this, oh no. Why? Do not auto minimize. I don't want it. Hold on. Is this? What? I just cut. I didn't realize that I could write on this. This is like one of the many things of functionality that I just like don't pay attention to. Great. I understand. Yeah, they want you to do the Apple type thing. Man, it's sometimes I just want to be left alone. Like, leave me alone to my own devices. I can't. Like, don't offer functionality to me. I didn't subscribe to it, right? Like, I'm over it. Like, I can't. I'm pretty sure there's an option to always bring up the keyboard. We're going to try it. We're going to try it today. We're now that we know how to use it, because I struggled with this last time. Now that we know how to use it and what's going on, we're going to snort it in through our nostrils and our ears and give it a try. And if we hate it, then I'm not going to have this next week. Right. So, I'm looking at my reference. Shiva's a pretty standard character. She's a femme. She's actually quite sexy, I would say. I don't know whether Twitch is gonna censor me, but I feel like I'm not doing anything super out of control here. And I think I'm just gonna draw her immediately with boobs so that nobody cancels me anywhere. And so we're just blocking out general shapes. Let's see. I think I want sort of that heel bone to be kind of peeking out. And then, yeah, she's got like this sort of like pointy, toesy situation. And then I think for this leg, I definitely want it to kind of go straight because that's certainly how it is in the reference. The thing that's so great about drawing Final Fantasy VII figures, especially when your references are these really chunky, and this goes for this whole era of like PlayStation 1, even PlayStation 2 games, they're chunky, and so you could really see the geometry and the intentionality of the form in these really simple polygon models. And so it's purely a joy to be able to draw them and really try to translate it into something a little bit more sophisticated. All right, so typically the way that Shiva poses is she's got like one hand up, and like when she does the like pop, she always has one hand up and one hand back, and so we're gonna try to be as true to that as possible. We also want it to look good, sis. You know what I mean? So definitely want to honor sort of our artistic capabilities and sensibilities, but we do also want to look at the original thing. Yeah, so it looks like she goes and boop. So I don't think, even though there's in the animation there's like a slow in and so her hand's like this, and then boop, that's when she drops the ice. I don't think we're going to have her like that. I think we're going to have her hand forward, and the reason for that is it creates an interesting shape. This is both applicable to doing painful moves in martial arts, as well as making stuff look really beautiful, both in posing and modeling and drawing. S shapes in the body, they look pretty, right? So if you do a straight hand, that's going to communicate something. But try posing somebody with that, then you have to offset it, maybe with the fingers or something, or maybe there's something interesting going on with the clothing, something interesting going on with the hair. But just having this or that, having everything straight, is really boring unless it's intentional. Because then, like, say they're shooting beams out of their fingertips, then okay, that's going to make sense why it's such a stiff pose. But typically you want to have a little bit of a bend, even a straight hand with a little bit of a bend in it, right? A little bit of an elbow, even if it's like a stop. This sort of a stop is very different from this sort of a stop, right? And so we always want to keep a little bit of a line of an action, a little bit of an S shape. And then from a martial arts perspective, if you have somebody's hand pinned back and it's kind of this shape, the dinosaur hand shape, it's a really good way to hurt somebody. Don't do it. Don't do it. But these are facts of anatomy. So we're going to do that back arm in a different color. And I think we're going to do sort of that shape here. And the reason why I want it on a different layer is going to make sense in a moment. And then we're going to do the head in a different color. Again, that's going to make sense in a moment. So I think for her head, I'm going to do sort of one of these shapes. I tend to draw a lot of my characters like kind of flat-headed. I think it's because I perceive myself as being flat-headed because I have straight hair. So sucks for anybody that I'm drawing. You're flat-headed, all of you. Sucks to be you. I know she's got these like gigantic earrings, which the earrings are actually quite small, but we're going to make them bigger because I really want them to show up. And I know her eyeballs are like that, and she's got like these little lippies. And then she's got this the stick, right? Like the stick where her pony shits come out. Sorry, this is not kid friendly. Sucks. I've been a good girl all day at work. I'm gonna cuss as much as I want on my free time. I'm so sorry. Maybe someday I'll go through and I'll have the patience to like edit all of my footage. But like if you're watching on Twitch right now or if later on YouTube, hello YouTube. Fuck it. Don't care. So you can see the reason why I put this on a different layer is so that I can move it around and adjust it as need be. I find this to be really helpful for me because sometimes I'm like, oh, you know what? Actually, the posing that I had wasn't really working. And I'm just kind of trying to make all of these different pieces work. I think I want to create a little bit of space. So I think in reality, her arm is either going to be back here or up front. But if it's up front, it's not going to be really above her head. But you know what? I don't care. This isn't reality. We're making it look good for illustrations. This is one of those weird things where it's like, you want it to look good. You also want it to make sense in sort of the physiology that you've created for the character. So you always have to kind of have a thought in the back of your head of like, okay, how is this going to work? Additionally, you'll notice, and this is something my teachers were always up my butt about in college. Look at how long her arm is to her elbow, and then how long her arm is to her wrist. This distance, it's about something like that. That distance should also be the same distance of this back arm. This is something that a lot of artists do not pay attention to. I certainly didn't pay attention to it in college, and I really paid for it. So I'm just going to kind of jigger that hand back here to be a little bit lower. And I think if anything, I might want to bring this hand just a little, like a little kiss in, just so that my soul doesn't cry later when I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, I really wish I had done something different right here. When you're using freeform mode in Procreate, if you grab and pull one of the corners, it'll let you do that, which is kind of really nice. I'm trying to decide, am I okay with sort of the action lines that I haven't even touched the hair yet, you'll notice. So I'm thinking about action lines, just like really fast, dirty, and quick. I'm going to drop white on this layer, take down the opacity. And so I'm just kind of looking, okay, we've got sort of this and that. We'll have that here. And then I think we'll probably want to echo that. So we're looking at sort of a repetition of volumes of lines of patterns because your brain loves that stuff, loves it. So we want to be thinking about, okay, if I have that shape here, where else can I have that shape? Where else can I have this sort of visual language that's running through my entire design? So we're just kind of looking at that. I'm looking at this line, and that seems to run fine. I think then I might want, let's see, do I want that to run parallel? No, I think it's more interesting that it's not running parallel. Rather, these lines are going to run parallel down, like that. And then I don't know if I want the hand, because the rest of the composition is kind of askew, right? We have a lot of parallel lines running this way and this way. So I want to invoke that pattern in other elements as well. So I'll probably want these fingers to kind of come through like that, just so that I'm continuing that shape language. Maybe that one goes up. No, it's going to have to go down. I just think it's going to look so much better having these sorts of little things in mind. Probably cut that this way, right? And then even, let's see, that, okay. So here's, I think that's kind of going to be the little bend in her toesies right there. Okay, so now I have some decisions I need to make. I'm going to have her little diamond sticking right there. I got to figure out what the hell I'm going to do about sort of a couple of different elements. We have her ponytail. We have her like little scarf. I guess that's maybe the best way to describe it. She's got like a little scarf around her. The way that she's presented in the remake is a little different than how it is in the original, but the essence is still the same. She's got little scarves coming out of her back. I think it's kind of the ties. And then she's got little scarves coming off of her hips, and then she's also got her hair. So we've got a lot of visual language that's going to be going on here. The other thing is that we also have these like concentric circles. The way that it looks in the original ult is it's a circle like this. There's a circle going this way, and then there's a circle going that way. But you can see we're already running out of space for that. So we kind of have to make choices that are intelligent and make sense to our composition. So I think what we'll do is maybe we'll try it this way. Again, running in these sort of parallel lines with the rest of the composition, right? So we have sort of this circular, oblong, oval-y shape, maybe this way. And then we'll have another one maybe this way. Like that. I don't know. Something like that, I think. The other option is that we bring all of this down a little bit like this. And then just to keep it all kind of contained within this comp. And we do sort of this sort of shape. The problem with doing this is that these orbits don't really make any sense, so I don't really want to do that. So I think what I'm going to do is, because she's got 3 elements, she's got this energy ball in the original summon, which is what we're looking at. She's got sort of this like nuclear blast radius. I don't know how else to describe it. And then she's kind of got this like little sparkle poo. And so this can be sort of that nuclear blast element here. And then we can have sparkle poo kind of going this way, which satisfies all of my sort of needs for being as true to the original as I can, while also like, it's my drawing, I can do what I want with it, and you got to make these decisions as an illustrator. Like you use references, and references are incredibly important, but you always want to create solutions that are intentional for what you're trying to achieve. And since we are trying to create a t-shirt design, we're trying to keep it all sort of within the confines of this sort of space roughly. You have to start doing the math in your head, like what's gonna make sense, right? So there's that. So that's the little orange particle-y things that are floating around her. You'll notice I'm not labeling everything. That's because this is all going to get condensed into one layer, and then that's going to be the new sketch layer. So that's why I'm not bothering with that just yet. I'm going to create a light blue layer. So now I need to figure out these 5 different elements. So we have her sort of, her little hip things, which I think typically are something a bit like that. She's got the ones that are behind her. I think the ones that are behind her maybe we'll do like this. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with that. I also want to like really honor sort of this space that she occupies in this reality that I've designed for her. So I think something like that. And then that gives me room. We're going to make this purple. That gives me a little bit of room for her hair. So her hair's connection point is up here, right? And so everything, all of the lines that I do for her hair have to come up, back up to this point. Because if I'm just kind of drawing a ponytail that's like that, it's still got to feel like it's coming up to this point, right? So if this line is going to end here, this line needs to end here, right? Even if just, I tried to flub this, but I couldn't just because I'm a pro. No, but if I was just kind of drawing like a ponytail, trying to draw a ponytail that is like, okay, perfect. Nope. Trying to remember where it is. Forget where it is on the canvas. Ponytail. Okay, you know what? Fuck this. The point that I'm trying to make, I can't make it, is that you want it to be very clear that everything is coming out of this point, right? And that's how our hair works. It comes up and it falls down, and depending on the thickness, style, type, and manipulation of your hair, it's going to fall different ways. So if there's a bunch of hairspray in someone's hair and it's all sticking straight up and they've got thin hair, it will continue to stick up. If they have thicker, heavier hair, or if they have textured hair, it may not necessarily stand up. So she has hair that does not kind of poof out into this big thing. It's pretty straight, and it's like going straight up and straight down. So that tells you it's pretty thin hair. And I think for the purposes of just making sure that things read, we're going to have it run something like this down the sides, down to her feet. Trying to think the other option, just so that I could fill up the space, is I could have her hair do that, which is a little bit farther away from sort of the intention of how it's done in the game originally. So it would be kind of, let's see, erase all of that. Looping behind her like that. The thing is that it's creating a lot of tangenting here, so I'm going to kind of tighten that line up just a little bit more. So I think something like this might work. I really do like sort of the, just it comes up and it comes down shape. So we gotta, again, this is why we work in several different layers, and why we just kind of try to keep it really dirty and loose. And the original, I think, has like 3 pieces, right? She's got like 3 different pieces. Yeah, she's got like 3 polygons. Yep. And it looks like it bends it around the hip. So something a bit like that, and then maybe down. Problem is that there's just like so much going on. I think I want to have it do that. And then yeah, I'm just kind of thinking about sort of the way that the composition looks as a whole, right? So I have this sort of shape, I have these shapes, I have this line coming through, I have this line here, this line and this line could be parallel, this line is parallel with that, We have that hand going like this. We have sort of a straight shape going down here. These lines are like this. We have sparkle poo going this way. I feel like maybe the pieces that are not really quite working as well are the little dangly poos, and we also have this sort of like Y shape going on in our composition. And having the dangly poos out here kind of throw it off balance. I almost want to put those the little things at her hips off to the side. Is that going to feel more balanced though? Hold on. Just kind of blocking out the silhouette, right? So we have that. No, because this is kind of sparkle poo. That'll be fine. I think having the little pieces there is going to be fine. And then maybe we could have sort of an indication that those pieces are curling like that. Let's see. Like that, maybe? Nope. I feel like if I have these lines here, they're just going to want to continue here, but we don't have any way for it to continue that S shape. I'm thinking. Looking at it on the second monitor also helps a little bit. Let's get rid of that S shape. Yeah, so the chief issue I have right now is sort of that silhouette, right? Here's the head. Just looking at like sort of the density of this illustration at this point. So density-wise, here's sort of, because this is all plasma and energy, it's not going to be super, super drawn in. That. So then we have a figure 8 shape going. If we wrap them backwards like that. So it turns into that shape. Or sort of a, yeah, that feels a little bit more balanced to me. Okay, so we're going to go back into this layer and get rid of it, clear. And then we'll bring it up here and then make this like a green color. So I think what I'm saying is that I want sort of her little elements to come out something like that. And I know I have a hand right here too, so I need to be mindful. Maybe the hand kind of sticks between those places. Hold on. If we have a hand here, so probably a bit more like that. Or even, nope, we'll do it something a bit more like this. Maybe we'll even have this piece come down even further. Like that. And then these little pieces can come out that way maybe. Let's see. And these pieces on the side of her hips are also really small. Hold on. Hold on, goddammit. If her hand is here, so then it's going to probably come out over it that way. This can just continue that sort of shape with her hair. That's totally fine. I'm fine with that. This is kind of the boobs, and it's kind of like that. Something like that, I think. I don't know if any of that made sense to anybody other than me. But it made sense to me intrinsically, which is all that really matters. Okay, we're getting rid of that sketch layer. So this is roughly sort of the layout that we're working with. We might even, because I feel like there's just so much going on here. Nobody really remembers those little side pieces at her hips, but I feel like everybody kind of remembers the little bit of scarf that's up here, up in the upper body. So we're going to make an executive decision. And I'm gonna do whatever the hell I want. Because I can, and nobody, what are you gonna do? You're gonna tell me no? Leave. Alright, all of this is getting condensed into a layer. We're going to turn down all of the saturation and brightness on it. We're gonna then turn down the opacity, and then we're gonna rename it Sketch. As soon as it'll let me get rid of everything. Please go away. Okay, Sketch. Thank you. All right. Now we do what to me is the fun part, and that's just like blocking out your shapes. I feel like since we're dealing with an individual subject, right? So last episode we had the chocobo and a mog on top of it, and there was like kind of a lot of moving parts because it's two different characters and it's a bird or bird type of character. It just kind of it got a little crazy, so we're gonna not deal with any of that for this, and we're just gonna kind of block out all of our shapes and see how it goes. So I think what I was trying to do here was that something like that, and then drop it in. I don't care about the colors. Don't at me about the colors. The colors are insignificant right now. This is the stage that we're at. This is how you move quickly when you're illustrating something. You have a tight deadline. You're just trying to get it done. So typically I'll do things like feet, back arms, back anything on a body that are the same color. So in this case, because she's in a bikini, it's going to be the same layer, same object layer. I think I want her toes just a little bit pointier. Probably a bit more like this. Nope. Get rid of that. Put a little line in here. Procreate and a lot of design. A lot of design programs hate doing fills. They're lazy. And yeah, they cause me a great deal of grief. Okay, so what we're gonna do here is the neck, the body. Let's see. That part. We could do the front leg. All of that can be on the same layer. That's not a problem at all. Like that. And the arm will be on a different layer. That front arm is going to be on a different layer. And then this foot. So I'm just trying to keep in mind sort of the dimensions of this foot, how big it is. And typically I'm pretty good in the sketch pass, but since we are kind of blocking out volumes now, I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful of that here. Okay, lock that out. Drop that in. Okay. Grab that really quickly and fix it. Kind of cut that off a little bit. Here and here. And then this one, we'll do the same thing. Excuse me. No. There we go. Kind of clean this up just a little bit. All right, now we're going to do the head. The head is going to be pink because why not? So again, this is really just blocking stuff in, not obsessing super bad. And again, she's mostly naked, so I can also create... actually, I lied. It's going to go on this layer. I can put this back arm, because it's kind of behind the body here. I could put the back arm back here on this layer. It's not a problem. And let's see, I wanted it to kind of do something like that. No! No! Okay, here we go. And over, and over, and over! Okay. I think we're just gonna clean that up a little bit. And then a bit like that. Like that. Whatever. We can come back to it. We do have a little bit of tangenting here. We have this sort of space I just circled it on my iPad, but nothing was written down, so you couldn't really see it. This little spot right here, I just want to open it up just a little bit. If you make it too tight, your eye goes straight to it because there's a high contrast there. So that's why I just kind of want to open it up just a little bit. We're going to create another layer, and using this disgusting orange color, we're going to do the hair. And you'll notice we're doing really big lines. Long, confident lines. When I used to teach in college, I used to teach anatomy. I would see people do this. My professor that I TA'd for would call it hairy lines. Do not do hairy lines. They're the most disgusting thing ever. I don't care what you're doing. Do not do hairy lines. You want to have long, confident lines in your work. It shows people that you know what the hell you're doing. Capiche? So I think for up here, we're going to do sort of this shape and block it out like that. And then here, we're just going to kind of connect it. And you'll notice I'm rotating my iPad because my arm, and I think I talked about this last week, my arm, naturally, at my elbow, it wants to do this, right? My shoulder likes round movements. It likes going up and down. Shoulders don't really like to go left and right. Wrists or elbows are not made to go left and right. Wrists are not made to go left and right. If you need to do a straight line, straight lines are always this way or forward and out. Never across, not from this way out. Use what your mama gave you. Use what your, genetics gave you, which is joints that work in very specific motions. Use those to create these really big, long, beautiful lines. It'll make your work look much better for it. And I don't think I want that tangenting there. I want it to point in. I do not want it to cut off. It just creates just sort of a weird space. And then to balance out this volume, I think I'm going to balance it out just a little bit more up here. And then maybe bring it in like that. Something like that, I think. Me thinkest. Like that. And then we're going to cut in a little bit there. Okay, so that is that. We might even kind of do one of these later, but down the line. All right. So next is the ponytail stick. Done. The ponytail stick. All right. The only thing we have left is these little shits back here. The little shits, we're gonna make it in green, and I think. Do we get to see the back of the model? Yes, we do. Yeah. So these little shits actually come out from the back of her bra, but I say nay. They're gonna come out from here because that is how women also tie their clothing. So I'm taking liberties. I don't give a goddamn. Can't stop me. All right, and then we have a little bit of tangenting here, which we do not want. So knowing that tangenting's there, we're going to use this scarf shape to kind of cover that up, right? That's fine. This is fine. This shape is fine. But having lots of little itsy bitsy little shapes in there is just going to complicate your design, and it's going to bring people's attention to an area where nobody should be looking anyways. You know what I mean? So that is that. Now we're going to alpha lock and rename everything. God help me. Head. Whatever. Body. I think this is body back. So I'm just going to put back. We're going to name this, stick. Because I know what that's going to mean. I really love that, some of these, it's capitals, and for others, it's sentence case. That's pretty funny. Scarf. And then this is going to be hair. Great. And then we're not going to alpha lock it. I was going to, but we're not. I did that last time and I just created way too much work for me. I really like having texture in my work. The way that I accomplish it is that I go back in and erase in and clean up my volumes. So that's pretty much what we're going to do now. We're also going to kind of grab this color because I know I'm going to have to fix that in a minute. So all that I'm doing is just cleaning up these shapes, being mindful of choosing the wrong color. Being mindful of just any sort of weird tangenting, any sort of things that are gonna really irk me. I think I'm gonna want to round this out just a little bit since that is kind of coming out of the top of her head. I don't really care about but this like greenish thing right now. I'm gonna go back in and fix that, but I do want to fix the shoulder a little bit since the shoulder is passing in front. I'll probably clean up the boob line a little bit and actually put in a bit of a shoulder as well, which is going to cause a problem. Okay, the boob line. Again, this is why everything gets put on different layers, is because I can go back in and fix things. It's just a much more efficient way to work. I think we're going to do a high cut on that. And here. And erase. Again, you'll even notice, even with my like erasers, whatevers, I still have pretty long lines wherever I can afford it. I try really hard not to do sort of these like raggedy, noodly, hairy strokes even when I'm erasing, because I find that they're just atrocious. They are ugly, and I will not have it in my work. So kind of erasing that out. Doing this also allows me to just QA my illustration just to be sure, like, okay, is this working here? Sometimes I catch tangents that I didn't catch earlier. Sometimes I'm like, oh, you know what? This isn't the greatest solution for this toe or whatever it is. And so I'll go back in and fix it. Things like that. I think I definitely want to thin that foot out just a little bit more. We're going to grab this and that. And so I have a little bit of an issue here. I think it's really obvious that there's going to be sort of that shape to the leg before it comes down to the foot and the ankle, right? But the thing is that we don't have evidence that this is a calf. And so there's like this weird disconnect between sort of this line and this line up here. And so I'm just going to kind of close the distance just a little bit, just so that I don't have random lines going into places that don't make any sense. So that's what I kind of mean about QAing stuff, is you just have to take a little bit of time just to be sure that your illustration makes sense. And sometimes those are things that you may not necessarily catch. I do not like that tangent. I do not like it. Those are sometimes things that you catch later on. We're moving you. The one thing I hate about Procreate is that I don't think I can choose where my rotation point is, which is a huge pain. So that's a thing that really irritates me. How do I feel about that? That feels fine to me. Maybe even just a little bit down. And then we're just going to fix it since we're already here. Do that. So yeah, I hope that that makes sense, why I choose to do things like this. I know that it doesn't make any sense visually, and it's like color-wise, especially because people know me for my color, it's probably like, are you having a strunk? And I assure you, I'm not. I just have a really particular way of working, and I've been working this way. I started at Disney in 2011, I want to say I've been working this way since around then, maybe even 2010, when I was still in college. I've always been volume centric, and as I've gotten more experience and more time under my belt, both as a designer and illustrator, it's really become very apparent to me that everything is down to having good, clear lines, good, clear volumes in your work. Okay. I almost want to put in just like a little bit more of a, like that. Just so that these lines here feel more connected. You know what I mean? And then I kind of want to do just like a little bit of like, hey, by the way, this is hair. But for now, we're just going to leave it as is. I definitely want to come back to that. Speaking of coming back to things, we're going to come back to this layer and make choices. It is a feminine character, and so her hands, right? I'm pretty sure Shiva is she, her. Her hands should definitely reflect the gender. So we're just going to thin them out a little bit. Generally speaking, women have thinner, more delicate hands. Men tend to have wider, thicker knuckles, a little bit stubbier. Not always, but women tend to have really long, slim hands, and men have a little bit shorter, a little bit stubbier hands. I don't know why. Nature, I suppose. Nature has reasons for these sorts of things. So we got that, and then we also have this back here. And this shoulder, I really want to be sure is going to connect here. And then down. And like your eye likes when you have this sort of like bend and stuff. And the bend should ideally be parallel. There's going to be exceptions to that rule, but generally it's like both sides of that volume are bending. And so it should be reflected in both sides, both the inner kind of convex shape and also the outer side as well. And then we're going to kind of erase this just a little bit. I just realized exactly how tired I am. I am tired. I went camping this weekend. I had such a lovely time. It was very cold. It was really beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful weekend. I want to go back. Okay, I think the last two volumes we have left are that dark blue stick and the light blue body pieces. So we're going to do that. And then the body looks like I missed a spot about down here. Nope. All right, everything seems pretty filled in. Not crazy about this back arm. Oop, and out. And a oop, oop, oop. Okay, I think we're gonna have to do that. Maybe rotate it. Yeah. Yep. I was like not wild about that at all. I just wanted, whoop, wrong layer. I just really wanted, her boobs and her shoulder to kind of feel like two separate volumes, and that was just not happening. And I think for the neck, we'll just have to make an indication. We'll have to do a line there to indicate that there's a neck coming through there. Do you understand? Something my husband always says to me. I guess it's like a cultural thing in Chinese. James speaks Cantonese. To ask, like, do you understand? And so we were watching Turning Red, And we were watching it at home, so we were able to rewind because we laughed so hard. There's a part where one of the characters explains a ceremony that everyone's going to do. And so he's like, okay, everyone's going to stand around here, and then we're going to do this thing. And then he's like, do you understand? And I just, like, died laughing. And I was like, oh my God, is this why you're always asking me? Because James will, like, say something, and then he's like, do you understand? And I'm like, yes? Like, why are you... Bitch, why are you asking me? And now it's like, oh, I see. It's a language thing. And it's like a subtle thing that, like, when you grow up with it, I really don't like this thing. This, like, little space. This is just irritating me. I want that to be a nice little line right there. It's amazing how, like, even though James is ABC, he was born in the States, unlike me. I was born in Ukraine. It's amazing how your language and the way that your parents speak influences you, even though James's English is, like, he's American born. Like, there's no way, besides looking at him, if you heard him over the phone, never met him face to face, you wouldn't know his cultural background. I just love that, like, there's these, like, little moments that, like, both of us have in our language and our culture, where we're like, oh, that's why you do that, or like, oh, that's why you say those sorts of things. Sorry, I have to check my Tamagotchi. I have a Tamagotchi. My husband got me a Tamagotchi. You can see her. It's very cute. I just made my camera go out of focus. Oops. Sometimes you just gotta check your Tamagotchi, you know? I don't think I'm ever gonna have kids. I don't know how people can afford kids. I also am not really crazy about kids, but I'll have animals, and I'll have Tamagotchis any day. Tamagotchi does not have to love me back. I don't want its love. I don't want its pity. I don't give a goddamn. All right. So Shiva. I can't tell if I'm vomiting or burping. Moment's gone. Shiva's blue. She's just blue all over. So we're making everything blue. Her scarf thingies are like a purpley color, so we're gonna just make it this purple. Her hair is like this, like, greenish, aqua-ish, mostly green color. Her hair stick is like a purpley color. It's like a darker purple, so we're gonna make that basic bitch purple. And then we're going to start clipping stuff in to the hair, and we're going to do the hairline. So, I would like to see, okay. So, it depends on how you translate it, right? So if you look at the Final Fantasy VII remake version of Shiva, her hairline is actually quite straight. If you look at the original Polygon, because of the restrictions of polygonal, low poly, this is probably like pre-nerves, actually. Hard surface modeling, hard surface modeling. Because of the limitations of the technology of its time, it looks like she's kind of got this part. And I don't know, like, I kind of like having that rounded out shape. So I think we're going to honor sort of the intention of her hairline, but I think ultimately we're going to do this. And have that come down. And this is clipped into that head layer. So that I can keep track of where everything is. I'm going to take this blue, I'm going to create a new layer, I'm going to clip mask it, I'm going to go into multiply, and we're going to add a little bit of, we're multiply, and clear. We're going to add just a little bit of a shadow, I think, here. Just a little bit. Just and then I think we'll have a little bit of a shadow here because that foot's going backwards away from us. And then all of these layers, I'm just going to grab this color. And I'm just going to kind of pop that darker blue in. like that. Oh, the Tamagotchi. Oh, he's crying. Please don't cry. He's happy. And also, if you look at the original, it's actually more purpley as you get closer to her feet, which I kind of love. What is wrong? Oh, it's sleepy times. Okay, go sleeps. Oh, foo. Good night. I'm just gonna add a little bit more purple in here. Like that. And then it feels like her upper body is just like pretty light. Again, I think this is probably because of how it's designed. But that's going to help also kind of differentiate between the different volumes we have going on here. And what I want to do is I want to kind of soften out this shape here somehow. Like that. And then I think for this back arm, I think I'm going to keep the back arm that color because I really want it to feel like it's a separate volume. It's like really back there, and I want it to differentiate from her face. Speaking of her face, we are going to brighten her up by just popping a little bit of like a soft color there. Her hair is going to get alpha locked. Her hair is like a little bit more greener, I would say, like that. And then we'll do it here as well. With hair, I like to do passes like that. I don't like to do like a whole swipe, make it all the same color. It's just not really how hair works. I also have this like this brush that I use a lot to kind of give texture to things, and it feels like this would be a good brush to use for her hair. I'm going to bring that down, bring it up a little bit, add up. Right, we're going to draw her outfit in. We're probably going to use this lavender color. I don't know how amenable I am to this color until I put it down. So let's see. Yeah, that's fine. All right, and then this is kind of how it looks. We're going to do that. So I'm using purely shape language to drive information. Telling you where a shape is rather than relying on just line work to do that. I really want it to be very clear just from the visual language of the shapes, what the different volumes are, what they mean, what they're doing. All right, for her face, we're going to pop in, I think it's like a purplish gemstone, so we're going to do this darker purple. Make this a little bit smaller in size too. I don't know what color I want her eyeballs, kind of like the eye details in her face to be. I think I'm going to go with this like darker blue color I have. Something a bit like that. And kind of erase into it. Like that. I might hate that in a second. We'll see. For her lips, I'm going to do this darker red for now. I think I'm going to probably amend it. And I'm actually using the side of my pencil. I'm not going full transparency on it because I do want some of that purple to pop through. And then I'm going to use multiply, and I'm going to use this green. I'm going to use the purple to put in her nose and draw this line for her chin. Separate out the lips. We're also going to use the side of the pencil for the hair. For the eyebrows, I meant. We're going to put in her ear. We're going to draw in that line that I was telling you about earlier. That is going to be multiply. That line that I was telling you about, that's going to separate out the neck from everything else. Probably give her a bit of a belly button that way too. Give her that under boob, that sweet, sweet under boob situation. Maybe, I don't know, something like that. Something like that there, and then, nope, that's fine. Definitely want to put her little toesies in, a little bit of an ankle bone, an indication of the knee. We're going to go into the back layers now. We're going to clip them in, go into multiply, and do all of this while scratching our noses. Did I just use straight purple on all of that? No. I want multiply. The reason why I use multiply so much, same thing with color dodge, is I really want there to be a color language, and I find that multiply modifies colors but doesn't make them too dark. My nose, maybe it's like allergies or something. Everything's blooming in our backyard. My nose is killing me. Okay. Toesies, ankle bone. This is sort of the back stuff, so probably like that. Have some indicators of that. Block out her hand. I think I'm going to go back into this layer and erase this line. Yep. And then this layer, we're going to take off alpha lock and just fill it in. Because I don't give a goddamn. Not a single goddamn. All right. We're going to go into the scarf situation. We're going to take some of this purple and we're going to add it in to the scarf. And then on this purple piece, we're going to add in some of the darker purple back into it. A bit like that. I like the separation here of the light purple and the dark purple. I'm actually going to turn this off, the sketch layer. I like the separation of the dark purple and the light purple. That way I kind of can see exactly where those volumes are. So I'm just going to leave that as is. But what I am going to do is I'm going to go in here and kind of carve out this shape. And I think use the side of my pencil to give some light information here. Nope, I hate it. I definitely don't want this like purpley, hold on, this dark purple on that front side of the boob, because it's indicating something that I don't really want it to indicate. Okay, we're gonna do that. And this covers that. And then we're going to go in with this and just really gently put information in. There we go. Like that. And I think just so that I have the kind of separation of church and state. No, actually I like it. That's fine. We're going to go into the stick. The stick. Put a little bit of that color in there. We'll also put a little bit of this blue, because the stick is pretty dark if you look at the reference. We're also going to go through the hair layers and add a little bit of that dark blue in. It doesn't have to, like, we don't have to go super crazy, but I do want to have a little bit of that dark blue just kind of peeking through, maybe especially back here. Go back in, just give it a little bit more texture. Like that. Do not like what I did with the eyes here. So we're just going to go back in with our pencil and fix it. I think that should be fine. All right, we have like a lot of it done at this point, right? So the next step is that is going to irritate the bejesus out of me. Hold on. This part, and I want this. Thank you. I could just like see, I could see it out of the corner of my eye, and it's driving me bananas. It's like just barely there. And then what is this? What is this piece? Okay, we definitely want to clean that up. All right. Before I move on, what I'm going to do is, and this is sort of the gut check that I do for most of my drawings, I'll put in either all black, all white, all gray, make it a color or hue layer, and then I just take a look at it. So there's a couple of different ways that you can approach this. The general volume information, so the fact that her body is in front of her hair is very clear. The fact that her face is in front of her arm is very clear. The separation of church and state between her legs is clear. We're getting a little muddy here. And this can be intentional, right? Like the fact that Shiva is half naked. It can totally be evocative of that. Like that could totally be an intentional choice. But it's not. I don't want that. I do want it to be very clear what my different volumes are. And so I think what I'm going to have to do is just introduce that purple across everything. And then even go a little bit deeper, especially around the crotch area. Maybe a little bit here. And then sort of along the side, especially back where her neck is. And then we can go back in with this light purple and, you know, kind of soften that up just a little bit if we really wanted to. If we wanted it to be kind of like evocative of like, this is a form that's crossing over another form. And then we also have that same problem here, right? Like the back panel, that scarf thing, it's just not dark enough. And so there's not enough separation. And that is definitely not good. I would rather have the hair and the scarves kind of blend into one another than have the front plane, which is her body, blend into her scarf and her hair. And these are just like tiny little things, right? But like this is stuff that like senior designers don't always think about and they get stuck on. And then they're like, well, I don't understand why my design's not working. You have to check, you have to check, you have to check this. Like, there's no way, like, this should be the first thing that you do. Like, oh, my composition isn't really working, or like, it's not very visible in our eye. Like, I can feel in my gut there's something wrong. Check your values. Do this and see if that helps. 9 times out of 10, it usually helps for me. A good trick for, say there's a ton of layers and you're just like, I don't have time to go through all this. I just need to do a really quick fix on everything. What I recommend doing is you go to Luminosity and you start picking out sort of the colors that you want it to be. Oh, I wonder if it'll let me do it. And you kind of draw that in. Oops, we want it here. And you draw that in on your luminosity layer. On your luminosity layer. There we go. So I want it to be, can you just, okay, that, and okay, luminosity layer. And you can start kind of carving stuff out that way. Say I was like, no, I really want this to be a little bit darker here. I keep selecting the wrong layer. It's driving me crazy. You're like, no, I want that to be a little bit darker. Here, I want to have just a little bit more separation. Here, I want it to be a little bit more separated. Say you're like, great, I really love this like little highlight that I have in her face. I don't mean to keep doing that. I want a little bit of it in her jewel, or I want a little bit in her lips or in her ear, or like that's going to be whatever. I don't know, like some other element. You could just kind of go through and pick out the hottest spot of your character, incorporate that hot spot as highlights across different elements of your character. And then you turn off luminosity and color, and you just check to see how that looks. And so you turn luminosity on and off, and you can see it's a subtle difference, but it's there. Look at the difference here when I turn luminosity off and then I turn it back on. So that's a really like dirty, cheap way. That's also if you have an art director standing over your shoulder and they're giving you a bunch of notes, this is one way to really quickly correct everything without having to do that. Okay, we are approaching hair time. So what I'm going to do is I don't do this for everything, but I like to do this the hottest yummy specular. Yes. Thank you. Gotta have that specular light right there, right? All right. I don't do this for everything, but I find that for fur, fuzzy clothes, C4 hair, 4C hair, long hair, it behooves you to take a little bit of time and sort of draw in these little lines over the hair. And it's like so subtle, and most people won't notice it, but you know what? You notice it. Oops. That. So I like to do something like that, or I'll create another layer, and I'll start kind of messing with, oh, that's what happened. Okay, I'll start messing with the sort of the silhouette just a little bit, because like hair doesn't fit perfectly in this like shape, right? Hair likes to fit in a general volume, but for the most part, you won't have perfect hair. Like you have little flyaways, and that's what makes. I keep selecting the wrong layer. That's what makes hair look good, is the little flyaways that you have in it. So we're gonna do that. It just makes it feel a little bit more believable, I think. I think we're going to just grab that color. And maybe have a little bit of it up here. Just to kind of, especially like around ponytails and stuff, there's always like a little bumpy, a little like flyaway, a little something in there. Something like that, I think. And then let's go back into that hair layer that we have and just kind of give it a little bit more information, just so that it's like very clear that like she's snatched, right? Like she's got this like a really snatched haircut, hair shape, hair situation. English. We're trying to convey that there's volume being wrapped around her head, right? So it's important to have those volumes in there. Little things that I feel like I'm missing at this point are we're gonna put the jewel and the earrings on the same layer, and they don't have to be clipped in. The earrings I mentioned earlier, I want them to be bigger than they are in the reference. I'm just gonna do a shape like that, and then like that, and then we're gonna erase it. And erase it, something a bit like that. And then we're gonna alpha lock that and go into this color and make it brighter. And then we're gonna go back into this color and make it not brighter. And it looks like it's the same color, but it's not. It's just the way that our eyes work. Likes to do things like that. Sometimes I'll also put people's nails on this layer. I don't know why. I do think that it's really, it's a nice little touch to have nails, but it's always kind of the last thing that I put on. It's kind of like an afterthought situation. A little bit like that. I think for this front nail, it might behoove me to use this color. Something a bit like that. And then we're going to actually take off the speck on this. We don't really need it there. And then we're going to go back here and put those darker nails here. And especially when you have like a woman's hands and everything's kind of smushed together and it's like one volume, it's like a mitten. Sometimes just having little peeps of a nail out there kind of helps to separate the fingers without having to separate the fingers. So that's always another option. Just remember that your pinky nail is always going to be a little bit shorter than everybody else's. And we're going to give her sort of these little bit of a pedicure, because girls with matching toenails and fingernails I guess, are stylish. I don't know. Right. One last pass. This is my favorite pass. We're going to get rid of the sketch layer. I don't know what that is. I don't think that was anything. We are doing the color dodge and the multiply pass. The background for this is usually like a black or a dark color. So first we're going to put that in. There. And you'll notice, even though this is black, it is not black. It's actually just a very, 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 very dark blue. I do not like to put pure black into my compositions. If it comes out naturally through the use of multiply, then that's totally fine. I don't like having pure black. I just feel like it kills your composition. So for the color dodge, I think what we're going to use is, let's use this blue color and just see how we vibe. Yep, beautiful. All right, so we're going to do that and maybe even have sort of a back. We're definitely going to have a light source here, which is going to come from like her sparkly poo, right? Which we haven't drawn out yet. And that will help define some of these other elements on her body. So we have this hot spot on the knee. Got the specular on the earring. Maybe just a little bit of specular on the eyelid, right? This front part. I only reserve pure black for grayscale, black and white stuff too. Yes. Good. I love hearing other artists be like, yeah, same fam. It's really rewarding to know, like, sweet, I'm not the only crazy person. I don't want to do too much specular in her hair. Because I don't want that to be the primary focus. And I don't want to go too crazy in the feet, so I'm just going to do just a little bit. Just kind of in these like little highlight spots, and that's it. Hello, welcome. Kind person 666, which I think is amazing because A, you're really kind, but B, you're also in line with the dark forces. And I feel like everybody needs more dark forces and kindness in their lives. So thank you for bringing your energy in today. I live for it. Okay, we're also going to do my beloved multiply pass. I think with the darker parts, just looking at my reference, it's like a darkish blue. We're going to try like a bit of a purple sort of in this space and just see. Nope, too dark. We're going to use this purple. Yeah, and even that's going to be pretty intense. I'm going to balance that out. We're going to just kind of carve out some of these little places that I just really feel like we need just a little bit more information. We really need to like pull that booty back, right? Things like that, or like the fact that this is crossing over there. We could even create just a little bit of darkness there in the little crotch areas. Oh my God, no, I don't support the 666. I didn't know that the 666 meant something until people started telling me, and then I searched on Google. No! I mean, it's fine, dude. Like, it's just a number. It's whatever you subscribe to. I support you either way. I'm here for you. You know what I mean? Pop in some of those darker colors for the hair. Definitely back here. So again, we're doing this because it looks good, but remember it's also, what are you working on? I am working on, so Final Fantasy VII is my favorite video game, and Shiva is one of the first summons that you get. It's a red materia. So we are drawing her. This is kind of part of an illustration series I started up last week. And I never finish anything that I start. I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. And then I never finish it. So like, oh, my nose, my allergies. I shouldn't take your medication. I'm like, we're doing this. We're going to do all of the summons, including Knights of the Round and Pale Horse. Yeah, so that's what we're doing. Oh, I do like, see, on like the areas where you have less color manipulation, all of them. It's gonna take me a minute. I like that in the areas where there's not a whole lot of color, and then I put multiply there. It pops the color right in. It's just like, oh, angels. Okay. So next step is, why did I delete my sketch layer? I actually need it. This is a lesson learned, children. Do not delete your sketch layers. That's totally fine. I have my reference, and we're going to raw dog it. It's going to be great. Shiva is one of the Hindu gods. Yes, that is correct. I've always wondered, actually. Since Shiva is a Hindu god, I believe she's the god of creation and destruction. I believe. If I'm wrong, please educate me and tell me I'm wrong. It's interesting that she is based... Oh, didn't mean to open that. She's based on that. Oh, okay, sweet, yeah. It's interesting that she's the god of destruction, and yet she's ice. I always thought that was really fun. Like, that was an interesting choice that they made. All right, so I remember slightly that the way I did this is that I had sort of I think it was like the echo of the like force field going this way, and then I think I had sparkle poo going this way. I'm pretty sure that was my intent. And then we can have sparkle poo kind of sticking out if we really wanted to, but we're not. So I think that was sort of the intention that I was approaching this with. So we're gonna go with that. We're gonna take this down pretty low. Pretty much all the summons in Final Fantasy are based off of some kind of deity. I feel like I knew that, because you have Ramu, you have Titan, but Titan wasn't a deity, was he? Titan is a type of god. It was because you had Titans. Like Zeus was a Titan, but I don't think Titan is actually, right? He actually, his wife is Pavarti. Oh, Shiva. Pavarti, and she is also, wait, it's a he, so Shiva, I'm assuming, is a he. His wife was Pavarti, and she is also, and his son was Ganesh, if you know him, the elephant god. I definitely know Ganesh. Can't remember why I do know that. Are you Hindu by any chance? Hindi? Would it be Hindi? Is Hindi the appropriate way to pronounce that? Hard to say, because every interpretation of the summons differ from game to game. Ain't that the truth? Boy, howdy. Okay, I think... So in the reference, it's the sort of light blue color. So I'm going to pull from this color. The reason why I do that is I really want there to be cohesion across sort of my illustration. And to me, I feel like if the light that is being created naturally through color dodge is this color, then it should also be the sort of light source color as well. That just makes sense to me. It's hard to say. Oh, yeah. Stream stickers. So FYI, you can slap me with stickers. If you scroll down, one of the panels has like a sticker slappy thing. And so you could, and they're free right now. So you could like spam me with hearts and nani, a chicken. They're quite fun. So that is an option for you if you wish to slap me. We're gonna do this. Oh! It scared me! Yay! Thank you for the follow! Yay! And a little heart too! Oh, and what's really fun about the stickers is that they'll like start to cover the screen. So if a lot of people do it, or if you spam it a couple of times, I think I have the cooldown pretty reasonable. So you could probably get like 5 or 6, and they're all just gonna crowd on random spots on the screen, which is kind of fun. It's a really nice little thing. If anybody's a streamer, it's called Stream Stickers. That's a pretty cool extension. LOL, so we can fill up the screen and cover it all. Yes, you actually could. You could cover the whole stream with stickers. I think I might have to turn down the because it lasts for like a couple of seconds. I might have to adjust it a little bit, but yeah, that is totally something you could do. Okay, coming back to this, I'm going to do a couple of things. One is that I'm going to put in that sort of darker color, right? Because I was talking about like the nuclear blast situation. We're going to put it here and kind of soften it out, and then we're going to erase into it. kind of like that. And we're going to smush it around. And then we're going to kind of carve it back in. And then we're going to make this really big and kind of have the shape generally now. So this is kind of the shape that we're going for, right? Like we want this sort of indicated sort of space and covered a beautiful artwork. Yeah, cover it. It's not going to last forever. It's not a problem. So that's kind of the blasty poo. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to alpha lock it. I'm going to use a little bit of this bluish color and kind of see how that feels. Because in the original, in the artwork, it's actually like it's a blue polygon. I can see how it is. I just don't know if that's what I want. Nope, we're going to leave it. I have another idea for that, actually. Back here, we're going to put a little bit of that darker blue, or that lighter blue, kind of in the corners. Like that. And maybe we'll kind of give her a bit of a ground plane by creating this sort of texture down here. Like that. And then we're going to do the sparkle poo. Sparkle poo. Sparkle poo. I have a brush that does sparkle poo. What the fuck is going on here? What is this? I ran out of layers. Oh, I see. That's that information. That's a multiply layer. We're going to merge those two. I don't think these are anything, so we're going to delete that. And then I have a brush. It's on Gumroad. I think it's called Gifts from the Fairies. I have like a whole brush set that is just sparkle poo. It's called Gifts from the Fairies, and it's called sparkle poo when you actually install it. Yeah, I ran out of layers. I'm on like a small iPad, right? So that's part of it. It's not a pro, and I'm on 2000 by 2000 pixels at 300 DPI. So it's a reasonably sized thing. Oh, you bought that one? Hell yeah! Yes! When you said sparkle poo, I thought you were referring to your brush set the whole time. Well, yeah, I am. Literally, I'm going to put sparkle poo on here. I think I named it sparkle poo because I didn't know what else to name it. So I was like, fuck it, we're calling it sparkle poo. So this is the brush called Sparkle Poo. It's literally taken from one of my books, my Disney books. So it's recreating Sleeping Beauty and a couple of other things, I think. And so we're going to just put Sparkle Poo in there and just see how we feel about that. Yeah, okay, we're going to do it this way. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do that. And then we're going to do a mask. We're going to invert the mask. And then we're going to grab this. I'm just going to grab the wet brush. Just see how that looks. And then that way I can kind of manipulate it a little bit. Maybe I'll just use the golden wet pencil. And just kind of do that. Get rid of this. And then I think what I'm going to do around this is I'm going to add more sparkle poo. But we're going to use the other one. Maybe just a little bit at the edges. And then I really love this brush. This like very Disney-esque sort of Disney sparkles kind of brush, kind of really gently coming out of that, maybe, I don't know. No, not wild about it. We are going to put that in the background, though. I think that's going to help elevate it just a little bit. Might grab a little bit of this purple. Yeah. Something a bit like that. We're going to turn off drawing guide. Stupid me, I would have totally drawn it and deleted individual particles slowly to get the shape I wanted. Yeah, right? So, because I'm so goddamn tired, don't work like that at all. Like, I'm just like, no, we're being lazy. That's what we're doing. We're going to go back with Color Dodge and just use like a really fat brush. A brush that I really love, we're not going to use it for this, but a brush that's really good for this sort of stuff that's really fun is the Luminance brush on Color Dodge. I don't know if we're going to use it for this particular sequence, but this is really good in conjunction with the Sparkle Proof brush. It'll give you these really nice, like, hot moments in your composition, which is really nice. You can go in and, like, add it into, like, you know, things that are supposed to be really bright and shiny. Right? The nips, that's specular there. Right? So you could really, like, this, it's a really beautiful, powerful brush. We're not going to use it for what we're doing right now, because I feel like it's not going to really work with, here's the Lisa Frank. I don't think I've shared this brush set, but isn't that fun? I haven't like released it to the public, but I have this like Lisa Frank brush set that I'm like just sitting on. I really should release it since like 90s stuff is coming back. I think I already showed you that one. Now I'm completely distracted. I love this brush set. I think I have one that's like, yeah, this one changes colors. Is that fun? Delicious. All right, what was I doing? This is Rainbow Tilt. I don't want that. I don't think I want anything in this brush set. What I want is, I think, my Golden Wet pencil. Yeah. So this is just like a really soft brush that I just want to add some, because like the reference has these really hot, right? Fun brushes are so fun, and you could just like easily, have you played around with the Glitch brush set that I created? It's pretty dope, if I do say so myself. Something like that, I feel like. Make these a little bit smaller. The Glitch brush set is really fun because it's here, I'll show you. It's called Glitch Witch. You can start to do really like fun, interesting broken screens. One of my favorites. This is back in the day when it was like early Procreate days. And I was like, I really want a Glitch brush set. And nobody had them. And so I made a bunch. And I don't use it enough. I just don't do enough Glitch art. But that's also a brush set that I have that I just kind of occasionally will like open. I love this one too. I don't know why that's so satisfying, just putting a bunch of like arrows everywhere. So yeah, I'm gonna take one more look at this. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do that luminosity hue saturation check. So we're gonna do color. And I'm looking at this screen now. Sometimes you have to get pretty far away from it. I feel like it works really well, and I'm gonna tell you why. I feel like, humble brag, there's a couple of things here that I think work really well, and this is why this is like, this, it's so important to do this. Beep, beep. Here's your light source, right? And so I like to do glitchy stuff in Photoshop After Effects. Never thought about drawing them in, to be honest. Yeah. Or like if you use a mask, or if you have like a glitch pattern and you use a luminosity mask to for After Effects, and if it's animated, if you have like a luminosity generated, that's like generate fog, and then have that as a luminosity mask for glitch, and then make the glitch a color dodge, and you layer 2 or 3 of those, and you make each color dodge its own color channel, and then you have like a 2-3 second delay. You could get some really cool effects really easily. Sorry, sidebar. Anyway, so we have this light source here, right? This is our light source. And so we have light that is not passing behind her back, which is why the hair is darker here. We have highlights here, which makes sense because that's where the light is shining, right? So we have a hot spot there. And then as we get farther and farther away from the light source, her feet are getting darker. This is actually passing out from behind her back, out beside her, and it's hitting the light source. So when you're designing things, especially when you're thinking about light and you're separating your volumes, always at the very, 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 very end of your composition, just do a quick check. Do a little gut check and be like, oh, this could be a little bit brighter here. Oh, this could be a little bit darker here. And use that luminosity channel to adjust it. And I think it'll make it really beautiful. It really elevates your work when you're thinking about light, when you're thinking about light sources and things like that. So yeah, thank you so much for being here this whole time. I get lonely and then I just ramble. So it's nice to just have a person to like talk to and be like, yes, don't use 100% black. It just doesn't work on your work. So yeah, I went a little over on time. I'm trying to do 7 to 8:30. I have to pee. So yeah, again, this is so much fun. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to try to, so you just use luminosity channel just to check, not to adjust. So it's white. It's different in Photoshop. So on Procreate, a white or all black layer, and then you go to layer style and you go to color and or hue. It doesn't matter. And what that does, because there's no color information in there, it's going to completely get rid of all the coloring. Then you're just looking at luminosity, which is values or how bright or how dark something is. You can use a luminosity layer to put in light information, which then blows out your camera. The light information, can we focus? Can we focus? Focus, 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 focus. There we go. You use the luminosity layer to adjust your layer colors. So luminosity for adjusting brightness, color/hue to check values and brightness. And then on Photoshop, it is called a black and white adjustment layer. And the layer style that is analogous to luminosity, I think, is called luminosity in Photoshop. I believe all of these things are also the same name in Clip Studio Paint, but it's the same concept. You just want to be sure you're getting rid of all of the color and you're looking at just values. Yep. Yeah, it's like an adjustment layer, but like we don't have adjustment layers because Procreate hates us. So yeah, I'll be back next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you again for being here. Try this stuff. Let me know if it works. Let me know if you love it. And once I get last week's design and this week's design up on merch or whatever, you guys can buy t-shirts. I actually kind of really want to buy my mog as a t-shirt and wear that. So that's something to look forward to. Okay, I love you guys. Bye.